Do you know whether you're at B or C yet? Do you know which part you're at?
I'm into the alphabet. I'm into the alphabet on this puppy. And you know, someone who builds these kind of places, like my gang, me and my pals, we love the process. We're not saying, oh, God damn, we got to have the cash flow by nightfall. Can we get this place open in 6 months? We don't think that way. We say, whatever, we know that the process of creativity is sequential. So you know, and you get dry, you bump into a wall, you don't have a solution to this particular issue at the moment, and it frustrates the hell out of you, and you take it to bed with you at night. And when that happens, if you've been doing this for a long time, I talk about this with Spielberg or Lucas or anybody else, you stop and work on something else and come back to it.
So you really don't know how long it's going to take, because the creative process is always different with everything that you do.
No, I don't make schedules for myself because I know that it's fruitless to do so. But let me put it this way. With each passing week, we deal with and resolve and come to more comfort on some of the points that we've made, some of the things we've done that have withstood examination, cross-examination, re-cross-examination. In the process, a certain percentage of your original ideas fall away. They don't stand multiple examinations, but a certain part stays, and like a jigsaw puzzle that fills in from the edges, the end of the design development process is when all the big payoff comes, because the project begins to talk to you after a while. And that's an exciting thing. What you've got to develop is a sense of understanding of the process so that you don't get impatient and anxious about it.
But listen to the way you're talking about this. I mean, your enthusiasm about this project. Does this reflect your enthusiasm now for the future of Las Vegas? Because maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago, you might not have been talking this way about the future of Las Vegas. You might have not thought, oh no, that all that land I have, it's going to be fallow for way too long. Are you as bullish about Las Vegas in the future as you are about Paradise?
Best question of the day. John, Las Vegas is a unique place. No one would say, who thought about it and did any research, that there's any chance that Las Vegas for the next 10 or 15 or 20 years won't be one of the major destination cities in the world. However, anything that we say about Las Vegas and its undeniable, incontrovertible status as a permanent destination city, that's all overshadowed by things going on outside Las Vegas. National politics, the economy, and how it's being mismanaged in Washington, mostly by Democrats who want to bribe the electorate with their own money and making promises they can't keep. Lately, it has gotten to a fever pitch. And finally, the international situation that has to do with the jihadi movement. Las Vegas is a target city. We have hardened the target at the Wynn. This is the first time I've ever revealed this publicly. But there's a division in the Marine Corps of special people that are specially trained to guard the embassies. It's a whole division with separate base, separate training. There are almost 40 of them at every opening of my building, plain clothes, armed, on the lookout, changing shift and being relieved every 2 hours so they don't get bored.
Wow, for how long have you had that?
The process started last December and became that's only part of it, and became operational about 30 days ago, fully operational. We have another group of a half a dozen SEALs Team 6 guys and CIA guys who are a counterterrorism unit that relate on a daily basis to Homeland Security, the FBI, and Metro. My company has metal detectors and devices at every entrance of the building for employees and guests that are not visible to the public. We have done extraordinary things to make sure that we protect our employees and our guests in the hotel.
What made you get so worried that you decided to take these steps?
Well, I guess my blessing and my curse is that I think of myself as someone with imagination. So I can imagine terrible things happening.
You think Vegas is a really bad, big
I don't
target?
want terrible things to happen in Las Vegas, and I certainly don't want anything terrible to happen to the people in my building, whether they're my fellow employees or my guests. And so I think I've got the Dada gene. I'm responsible for the win.
But you think Las Vegas is a bigger target than maybe other? I mean, I've always thought since 9/11.
The FBI and Homeland Security believe that it is, John. Yeah.
Is everybody else doing what you're doing, or do you not know?
You know why we're a big target? It isn't just the amorality of it in terms of maybe what some Muslim might think. You know, the Quran might be against what we do, or our lifestyle of drinking and partying that the city stands for. But what Las Vegas does have, like New York, but more so, is great concentrations of people, like a football game. But we have all these arenas and these showrooms, these massive amounts of people on the Strip. 43 million people a year, 800-odd thousand a week, turns over twice a week, 3.5 days stay for approximately 800,000 people a week, 117,000 people a day. This place is chock full in a relatively small place between Sahara and Tropicana of all of those folks. And they regularly congregate at night in 10s and 20,000 bundles. This city is tempting for all of those reasons, and that's what the government has told us.
Has there ever been a credible threat?
If you listen to Homeland Security and the FBI, they've had stuff that they've picked up electronically.
Static on the wire?
Talked about plans for this or that. Have they ever arrested anybody in Las Vegas? I don't think so. You know, a plot in progress that got thwarted. I have never heard of that yet, thank goodness. But I know that anybody that thinks they're going to do it on the property of Winter Encore is going to have a short, brief life.
You've taken extraordinary steps, it's clear. Let's talk about a couple of...
There are hundreds of people armed now watching.
Wow. Let's talk about, you mentioned it earlier, and I'm wondering, let's talk about the Macau roller coaster and what you think is... Let me just show you something recently that the Motley Fool, you know, that website wrote, and they mentioned you. While much hope and faith is being placed on mainland Chinese citizens to lift up the island's prospects, a stagnating economy is expected to slow further in the back half of the year. Casino operators can thank Steve Wynn for halting the slide in monthly gaming revenue, and they'll probably be able to do the same with Sheldon and Miriam next month. This is right before he opened the Parisian. But it's much too early to say revenue won't resume its fall afterwards, and the turnabout could indicate this is a celebration that's come a bit too early. What do you think?
I don't know. I know I don't sound like a politician again. Now, I don't know the answer to that.
It doesn't sound like the Steve Wynn I know to say, I don't know.
What's wrong with saying I don't know when you don't know?
Yeah.
You know, you do the best you can.
It's a gamble then, what you just did there. A real gamble.
All business is a gamble, John. Every person, large or small, that risks their money, hires people in the belief of an idea or the provision of a service, doesn't really know whether the demand will be the level that it should be or that they'll be successful. Everybody in business is taking a gamble.
But Macau
more accurately, there's risk.
Yeah, there's always risk, but Macau looked like a sure bet for a long time. And now it's not such a sure bet anymore.
Well, I guess you want to define it. You're using all these gambling terms. Gamble, a sure bet.
Right.
Las Vegas, the business in Macau has a risk. The investment has a risk. The risk is measured by what are the chances of total failure, less than a good return, a super return. Now that's a whole range of responses between bankruptcy and shooting the moon with making 100% on your money every year. So we take a risk, and then there's this whole rainbow of possibilities as to how the risk will be rewarded or not. So it's not a bet like a crap game or a blackjack hand where you win or lose, A or B, up or down. No, business isn't like that. First of all, short term is one thing, long term is another. Things change, businesses are agile if they're well led and they adapt. So I think we want to avoid the use of the word gamble and a sure bet. It's so delicious to do that when we talk about the casino industry, but the best thing to do is talk about risk and reward and the measurement of such reward or failure, because it's a wide range of answers. I think that Macau, the People's Republic of China, is a very good place to be in business. Very good place to be in business.
You've often made these comments that have gotten, I think it's impossible for Steve Wynn to get in trouble, but maybe get in trouble in the sense that you've essentially said the Chinese government is friendlier toward gaming than the Obama administration has been toward business. I'm paraphrasing here, but you've used that kind of analogy, I think. Although that's changed in China a little bit.
If you're a business person and you know about the detail of what comes out of Washington and the agencies, the average person watching this show who's got a job and is worried about their family doesn't have the patience for this. But if you could sit in my chair or the chair of business people, the business owners, and you saw what it takes to do anything in business today with the ridiculous load of regulations and hurdles put in your way, and every bureaucrat that's part of any agency that was created by a legislature is only concerned with keeping their own job for their own family and their own security for their children. So the agencies constantly expand, constantly look to be bigger, because that means they can get paid more. The self-interest of the bureaucrats is directly opposed to the concept of job formation. So when you got to be careful about regulations, because they tend to grow on their own like a weed, and it's gotten outrageous.
Well, let's talk about a few other things, because I've kept you a long time already. The future of the industry, Mr. Wynn. We've had conversations before about where web gaming might be going, where the internet might be going, your skepticism that it could get through Congress the way it's currently configured. Now there's a big talk about daily fantasy sports, which I know you know about. Where's it going?
It's so complicated. You know, the impact of the digital technology and the possibilities that's created for all of us is dizzyingly rapid and far-reaching. And a lot of the people who are making decisions politically are older people who don't have the agility with the world of digital things that young people have. So I think that it's an unstoppable, the idea of more and more digital reliance and digital exploitation and exploration, that is a force that has no chance of subsiding. It will only get bigger. And it will impact gaming, the way we run our businesses. I had the other day, I had a conversation with Jeff Bezos. You know, the guy from Amazon.
He owns the Washington Post too.
In my villa, I have Alexa. Hey, this thing, 8 inches, 10 inches tall, that's round, sits on my desk. It's a speaker, and it listens. I say, hey, Alexa, play Hank Williams Jr., A Family Tradition. And across the room, the speaker says, Hank Williams Jr., Family Tradition. And the next thing you know, there's Frank Williams. I say, Alexa, stop. Alexa, how much does the earth weigh? And she tells me. I said to Jeff, I want to use the whole 4,800 rooms, soon to be 6,000 or something. I want Alexa. Oh, I love this idea, Steve. I think it's terrific. I can't wait. Who's going to be the contact? I said, I am. I want to turn the whole hotel. When you walk in the room, you're going to walk in your hotel room at the Wynn, and going to say, I'm here turn on the lights, Alexa, or whatever name we want to give her. Turn on the lights. Open the curtains. Put on channel 13, the ABC affiliate.
Very well done, smooth. Don't you think it should be called Steve, though? Don't you think it should be called Steve?
You don't have to work any remotes. You don't have to know. Alexa, make it warmer.
It should be called Steve. So like all the guests are telling Steve Wynn what to do, don't you think? I don't want to give you. I don't want to give you any creative ideas here. But the point is, you can't stop all this stuff from happening, right?
There's another company competing that wants you to be able to say, I need an iron. Something's wrong with the light switch. And it'll connect you to engineering. You say it out loud. And the computer that's part of the central system that has voice command knows exactly where to route your problem.
I mean, it's stuff that you and I couldn't have imagined 40 or 50 years ago. And I guess what I'm asking you is that, I mean, it seems to me that trying to stop internet gambling, web gambling, the kinds of things you're talking about, daily fantasy sports, you're putting your finger in a dike. You cannot stop this. It's just a matter of when it happens. I mean, even your friend Sheldon Adelson, I think, is swimming upstream on thinking that he can stop it.
But there's a departure point here. Sheldon Adelson, among all of his other, strongly held beliefs, his convictions, two things. He thinks drugs, marijuana are dangerous for children, and that if you allow internet gambling, kids will somehow get a hold of their parents' credit card or something, and irresponsible gaming will take place that's not regulated.
You agree with him, don't you?
You have to, because it makes sense. But I want to tell you, he is staunch on these points, and I don't believe that anything is going to shake him on it. And there's an awful lot of people that feel the same way. We're getting on the drug issue. I also believe that the amount of time law enforcement has spent on chasing people smoking joints is ridiculous.
Are you for the legalization of pot then?
I'm trying to figure out what an intelligent position is. I was trying to find out what's going on in Colorado. I mean,
yeah.
The idea was we're going to start. What was one of the ideas is not waste law enforcement's time on chasing people smoking a joint. And then which will undermine the strength of the illegal drug dealers. So has Colorado done all that? Has there been an uptick in what some of the people who are against it think are the awful results? Sheldon thinks if you do this, kids are going to get into drugs. You know, Miriam, his wife, runs drug rehab. That's her career.
I thought she was the driving force in the family against, you think Sheldon is on board too? But it's because of her, right?
They are connected at the hip on this issue.
Okay.
And Miriam Adelson is articulate on this point and can back it up with statistics. So this isn't an off-the-cuff kind of thing for them. It's deeply rooted in research and...
But you're not on board yet?
No, I don't know. I'm conflicted this way. I don't want children to be into drugs. And if marijuana is the gateway drug, then we ought to keep it depressed and not legalize it. But if all of our cops are arresting, putting kids in jail for smoking a joint, that seems to be, a distraction that's not relevant or proportional. So
just where's it going then? Because I mean, yeah, I understand.
Tell me, what do the polls show? That will it pass in Nevada?
Our most recent poll showed it with a slight majority, 53%.
It's close.
But I think Sheldon Adelson is going to spend some money against this. I may be wrong, but I would guess he feels strongly enough about it that he'll try to beat it.
He'll put money where his mouth is every time.
That's what I think.
But he's got one vote when it comes down to it. And Miri's got one vote, and the family's got.
But if you spend money, you can sway it. But fine,
that's the point. That's the point.
Right.
Does the public, have the people of Nevada who vote, address this issue the way we are in this conversation? Have they measured the pros and the cons? Is this strictly going to be a propaganda war on who spends more money?
Yeah, it may end up being. So just
I hope not. I hope it's a more considered decision.
You're more optimistic than I am, but let me ask you again. Do you think that this, no matter how Sheldon Adelson feels about it and what you consider common sense about children getting involved in internet gaming, et cetera, 5-10 years from now, you're going to be able to walk around, don't you think, with your smartphone and be able to gamble. Almost everybody will be able to do that. Am I wrong?
I think that the prediction you just made is hard to argue with, based upon the liberalization of gaming in every other respect in America and the general trend towards a digital world. Your comment, your prediction is supported by history, by recent history. So it'd be hard to say it won't happen. I think you're probably right.
Okay. Two more questions, one of which I've been wanting to ask you ever since I met you. I'll get to that in a second. But here's the question. It occurred to me during this whole interview, too, and I thought about it. You're 74 years old. You mentioned that earlier. Is there any such thing as a Steve Wynn going into retirement?
I don't know. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. Sheldon's going strong. He's 82.
Indeed. So you don't even think about it. You're still going strong.
He's 8 years older than I am.
You're energized about Paradise Park. I can tell you're energized about a stadium.
Boston. We finished the designs on Boston.
You got in some trouble there. You're having talk about belligerent.
It's all over.
Is it all over?
All the troubles are over. Everybody's happy. All the politicians have made up with us, and
It's that way. Not you didn't make up with the politicians. They made up with you. I always forget how it works.
Well, I was never having an argument with them. It was a question of what it took for each of them to be satisfied and to come to rest on the issue. And I'm happy to say that we're not embroiled in any other controversies at the moment. And none of the mayors are angry. They all seem to have come to grips with our presence there. And we're all cordial and having coffee, and we'll be doing those kind of things. And we hope to be a positive member of that community when we're open. It was a 34-month construction project, and there are 31 or 32 to go.
All right, final question. I've been meaning to ask you this for years, and I always forget to ask you, all right? You and I both come from back east, and I've been here for more than 30 years now. But I know how to pronounce the name of the state. It's Nevada. How come you haven't learned how to pronounce the name of this state, Mr. Wynn?
Did I say Nevada or Nevada?
You say Nevada all the time.
I was born in New England. I'm from Connecticut. My family's all from Boston. And that New England, you know, but I'm trying to remember to say Nevada, John, honest. It's been 48 years. I'm a little slow. But it's home to me.
It is to me too. Mr. Wynn, it's been a pleasure talking to you. We got 90 minutes. I really appreciate you taking all the time.
Sure, John, it's been fun.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.